Hey everybody, it's Allie and welcome to our Y&R Chat for Sunday, August 18th, 2019. We had a real soap wedding this week. It has been ages since we've had a legit true romance wedding that wasn't a quickie or a sham or a recommitment ceremony. And I really didn't think it was gonna happen. I will be the first to admit that I was wrong. I have been so cynical the last few weeks that when I realized that this wedding was actually happening, I was shocked and delighted. Honestly, I have to give Y&R big props for this. They gave me the soap wedding that I didn't even know I needed. I felt so much better after these waves of joy washed over me. I cried so much on Friday. I don't even know the last time I cried at Y&R. So it felt good to just let that emotion out and just let the happiness wash over me. It was beautiful. The wedding was, it was so real. It had all of the beats of a real wedding, and I loved every moment of it. I was really in it and with it through every moment, through the pre-wedding jitters that both Lola and Kyle had prior to the ceremony, you know, feeling afraid about the future and weighing it against their past and their family's past and some of the baggage that they both have and how it translates to their own personal identity. All of those feelings and emotions are very true to life as you enter into this new stage of it. I loved it. I loved the fact that Lola and Kyle also had that moment alone in the park, in the ceremony space, the night before the wedding. And there was something very special and magical about them being there alone under the beautiful twinkling lights with darkness all around them otherwise. And they just were able to share that private magic moment together, sharing a dance together and just being together for the last time before they were going to enter into their new part of their relationship, their marriage. I loved the wedding day. I was absolutely captivated by all of the scenes inside of Lola's bridal tent. I thought the tent itself was really pretty. It had these starlights above it, and I liked seeing Lola's excitement, and the actress did such a bang-up job. I mean, she was brimming with happiness. I could feel it emanating from her. I loved seeing her get her hair and her makeup done, and she looked so beautiful. I loved how Abby really stepped it up and gave us the maid of honor game. She was given Lola, she had organized Mariah and Tessa to be there with she and Lola. They gave her the something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue gifts. Y&R didn't spend too much time on that. It was just perfect. They kept the presents rolling, and all of the presents were meaningful and beautiful, and ooh, that little perfume bottle squirting into the air and everyone smelling it. I was there. I felt elegant. I felt like one of the girls. I loved the borrowed set of big, beautiful diamond earrings that Abby gave to her. I loved the antique purse that Mariah and Tessa had picked out. I loved how Lola seemed a little shy and awkward when they gave her the garter. It was just all so friendly, and it was clear that Lola felt special. She was remarking on how good it felt that on this day, this important day in her life, she had a real friend group that was surrounding her, and I really appreciated that too. I really got a sense of that. cried. Then when Ray came into the bridal tent next and he was talking to her, and in a way, he was talking to her for the last time as this little girl, spunky little sister that he helped to raise. And now he's giving her away into a brand new family of her own, one that she's starting on her own. And it was so very special. And I loved being reminded of the closeness that Ray and Lola shared. And then Celeste shows up right into the bridal tent as a big surprise for Lola. Of course, Lola was elated to see her mother, but I was a little annoyed with Celeste. She pretty much offered no explanation about why she was refusing to answer any of her children's many phone calls and texts and flowers. I mean, she said, I'm sorry I left town so abruptly the way I did. She was apologetic about that, but she had no explanation at all for why she was just rudely dodging them. They were worried about her, and she was blowing them off, yet Jack is so charming that he was able to just make that plane trip there and convince her to come back. She couldn't be bothered to answer any contact from her children, but she couldn't say no to Jack Abbott. I think we might be seeing a future there. Although I don't know, I loved the little teaser of drama to come when Adrian Rosales showed up to the wedding uninvited after Lola had gone through the process of deciding to not invite him. He had written her a very heartfelt letter in which he said, I would still love to be at your wedding. You're still my daughter, but I understand that I have made mistakes. And if I'm not invited, then that's okay. And then he shows up peering into the wedding tent, unbeknownst to Lola, unbeknownst to anyone. Oh, that's a big change in his attitude. I really can't skip over, though, the scene where Lola was reading his letter because Ray was there with her. He gave her space to read it and to make her own decision, despite the fact that we know Ray has this very tumultuous relationship with his father. He really resents his father because it wasn't just about abandoning the family. It was about abandoning the family and forcing him to step up and take over the father figure role. But Ray stood back. He let Lola have her moment to decide what she wanted to do. And she had ultimately decided that she couldn't change the past, but she could choose her own new family, and that's what she was going to do. I really just loved those moments between Ray and Lola in her apartment. It just felt so real and so cozy, and I liked remembering the Rosales family as a family. And Lola was busy, nervously baking what looked like some yummy, yummy cinnamon rolls. Baking those really helped to calm her nerves and also helped to make me really want some cinnamon rolls. Celeste also gave no explanation about why she and Adrian had suddenly broken up just before the wedding. Celeste was reunited with the Rosales father weeks ago, so much so that she was trying very actively to plead his case to Lola for him to be invited to the wedding. And now she's standing outside of the wedding tent arguing with him about why he would show up uninvited. Again, totally in opposition to the letter he had written. But now Lola's mom is accusing him of doing nothing to help raise their daughter and telling him that he needs to stay away. So why the breakup? Why the stark change in her attitude toward him? Perhaps that will all be explained next week, because it looks like from the previews of next week's show, he's gonna reveal himself Lola is going to have some words with him inside her bridal tent, and apparently Arturo is gonna be there having some words with Abby, with Nate coming up into it saying, is there a problem here? Ooh, damn. Arturo looked good in that beard. Why didn't Arturo have that big sexy beard before when he was on the show regularly? I really feel like I could have connected with Arturo in a much more meaningful way if he would have had that big sexy beard on. Oh, I was wondering why Arturo wasn't at the wedding ceremony, why Y&R didn't address it, but I guess he was able to make it for the reception. If he was there earlier, he could have walked her down the aisle too. Why not? I loved the ceremony anyway. It was very good. I loved that Lola and Kyle didn't have long, drawn-out, boring vows. I get tired of the whole, we wrote our own vows and I'm gonna stand here for 5 minutes, tell you what I think of you, cut to commercial, come back, and now it's his turn to do the same thing, cut to commercial. I didn't want to spend 2 segments on vows, so I was glad that it was short and sweet. They kind of said the same thing. It was cut together well, and I love, of course, that none of the guests stood up and gave speeches. I always find that annoying. We don't need to hear everybody talking at the wedding ceremony. I'm sure there'll be some toasts, but I'd prefer to just keep them short and sweet. But yeah, I liked that the ceremony was succinct. And it's a good thing because judging by the look that Summer had on her face the entire time, who knows what would have popped out of her mouth if there was an opportunity for the guests to speak, or who knows what would have come out of Phyllis's mouth. Phyllis had sourpuss face on big time the entire time. She was there to support Summer's decision to even go to this wedding, and Summer was there trying to show her support for Kyle. Oh my gosh, though, the look that Summer and Phyllis were giving Lola when Lola was walking down the aisle, I screen capped it, and I am telling you, it was the single greatest moment of that entire wedding. You've got to go to yrchat.com and see the little screen cap, the little moment of Celeste smiling so happy at Lola, who is smiling and so happy, and then Phyllis. I mean, they are like intentionally directing these two to walk in front of the screen in front of Summer and Phyllis, and Summer just looks like she wants to throw up. Phyllis is looking at them like she don't care who sees her sourpuss face. It was so good. I know that Summer was looking at Lola thinking, I want my liver back. Wish I never would have given you that liver. No. Summer's had a complete turnaround. She's totally fine with them now. But I don't know why she would want to bring Phyllis as her guest. I mean, I would not trust that Phyllis would not cause some drama at that wedding, but at least Summer decided to bring a date who wasn't Theo. Ooh. It's also a good thing that the priest did not do the whole, does anyone have any objections to this marriage bit? Because I think Theo probably would have popped out of one of the bushes just to ruin it for Kyle and Lola. We never would have gotten their funny, passionate first kiss as partners in life. I thought that was very cute when the priest said, you may kiss the, and then Kyle just goes for it. The priest couldn't even get the words out, and Kyle was kissing his bride. I thought that was beautiful. I'm wondering if we're ever going to get to see them on their Bora Bora honeymoon that Lola was bragging to Ray about. Are we gonna maybe see them in a little bungalow or something? I'm not sure. I hate to speculate too much because honestly, I didn't think there was gonna be a wedding. I mean, I have been here for weeks swearing that this wedding was never gonna happen, and then here we were. They actually tied the knot. I hope we get a honeymoon. Judging from the previews of next week, we are going to get a reception, and there is going to be some drama at that reception. Theo just couldn't stay away. He just couldn't leave well enough alone. He couldn't let a day go by without reminding Kyle of their scandalous New York City past. Well, now that the secret is out, talk about making a mountain out of a molehill, really. I don't know if I'm alone in this, but I kind of wish that the secret would have been a little more scandalous. I should probably just hang up my crystal ball since none of my predictions have been correct lately, but I feel like I am starting to get a better sense of how these new writers are operating, because Mal Young gave us plot shocker after plot shocker, week after week after week. And Josh Griffith's style, I'm starting to realize, is just more subtle and slow. It's about 2 weeks too slow, if you ask me. But I'm thinking that this secret between Theo and Kyle was maybe never really meant to be something so bad. Like, it could never be something so bad that it would have damaged Kyle in the viewer's eyes. Maybe it was never meant to be something that was going to damage Kyle in Lola's eyes either. Maybe this whole thing with Theo and the secret past in New York City was always meant to be more of something that was gonna be a thorn in Kyle's side, something that was going to make us wonder if the wedding was going to happen, and also probably it was a way to attach some meaning to Theo's character. This week, Theo very readily and quickly and with minimal probing by Summer just told Summer the whole story. She lightly pressured him, and now after all these weeks we just get the whole story. Basically, here's what happened. Theo and Kyle were throwing some wild party one night. It was a drinking party with alcohol. I never. And a girl named Zoe drank too much of her own accord completely. She blacked out at the party, and Kyle and Theo found her, and they were stuck trying to figure out what to do with her. They looked into her purse, found her ID, realized that she was only 17, and so they took her to the emergency room and dumped her off. Okay, not the best thing that you could do, but it's also not the worst thing that you could do. I seem to remember a storyline where Jack relapsed, totally blacked out, woke up the next day, and there was a dead hooker on the Abbott living room floor. That was way worse. Adam helped him cover the whole thing up, and that was a setup by Victor. So, I mean, we've had worse on this show. People have done worse in real life. Fun fact, my cousin OD'd one night, and his so-called friends put him in the car, but they did not drive him to the hospital emergency room. They instead dumped him on someone else's lawn to lie there overnight and die. The property owner found him the next day. So in my mind, Kyle and Theo at least get a few points for taking the girl to go get help. I don't think that they would be the first or the last people on the planet to get scared and to panic and to try to find some way to make it all go away. Luckily for Kyle, he also had $100,000 to make it go away. The girl's father came to the guys after this incident asking questions, and Kyle gave him money to keep it all quiet. So now, flash forward to today, Theo, we'll flash forward to Monday, I suppose, at the reception. We see Theo showing up at the reception with Zoe, the girl, on his arm. I guess just to shove this into Kyle's face one more time. Just to torture him one more time on his happy day. Yeah, I said it last week, I'll say it again. This is kind of a meh plot twist after all of the buildup we had about this big secret. But I will say this. What Theo told Summer about why he was still hanging on to this whole situation was, Kyle and I made the same choices in this situation, but I owned it. Kyle likes to walk around pretending that it didn't happen, pretending he's better than it. But I own it. I'm honest with myself about who I am. Kyle's fake. Okay, in a way, I can kind of understand that. I mean, I wouldn't go out of my way to torture someone over it, but I could see where Theo's coming from in terms of thinking that Kyle's being phony. Yeah, all right. But there's so much more here that I do think needs to be explored. Why does Theo feel compelled to go out of his way to rub it in Kyle's face? And I wonder if, in a way, Theo feels personally slighted because he looked up to Kyle. I wonder if on some level Theo wanted to be Kyle, wanted to be charming and rich and smooth the way that Kyle was. And for a while, Theo was even able to manage to date the girl that Kyle wanted so badly for all of those years, Summer. You know, it's almost like a single white female, but with males kind of thing. Like maybe he just hasn't had an obsession of sort of wanting to be like Kyle. Wanted to be in his inner circle, wanted to behave like him, wanted to date the same girl that he dated. And it's an unfortunate situation for Summer. Summer seems to have seen the light of day with Theo. I'm not quite sure why that conversation with Theo turned her. It wasn't bad enough to the point. I don't think that Theo came off so bad to the point where Summer would be like, I never want to have anything to do with you again. But that sort of seems to be where she is now. Certainly she is in the middle of Theo and Kyle. She sought Kyle out the night before his wedding, or she bumped into him, I should say, to tell him that he needs to be wary of Theo, that Theo's been talking, and he didn't say anything specific, but it's clear that he's holding a grudge against Kyle. So Summer wanted to warn him. So while I think that this plot twist about Zoe is not a real bombshell of excitement, it did fill in some blanks for me on Theo, who he is, what his motivation is, and it also put Summer back into Kyle's graces vis-a-vis Theo. Probably for when Y&R wants to ramp up that love triangle again. And depending on Lola's reaction when she learns about this little secret And by little, I do mean little. Who knows? I mean, that summer triangle might happen sooner rather than later. Well, what did you all think of Kyle and Lola's wedding? Overall, do you give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down? That's our poll question for the week at yrchat.com. I'm curious to know if you guys felt like it was something that maybe Y&R needed. Did it hit the spot for you? Name for me the last soap opera wedding that we even had. I mean, I think we had Billy and Victoria's recommitment ceremony, and then before that, I think we had Kyle's wedding to Summer. I really can't think of a big production wedding that we've had in the past. So for me, it's a thumbs up, but maybe if you're not a fan of Kyle and Lola, or maybe you felt it was trite in some way, you'll vote to give it a thumbs down. Well, do you know who I noticed was also missing from that wedding? Kane on Tracy's arm. Oh, so much for them being the best of friends. Now Kane can't even get a wedding invite. We will never see them together again. Maybe they will do a brief follow-up in a few weeks down the road. But otherwise, I do not know what Y&R is going to do with Kane now. He had a perfectly good storyline lined up with Tracy, and now he is out there on an island all by himself. But Tracy was back for the wedding. Of course, I love to see her. And I am so happy to hear that Eileen Davidson is going to be on our screen more often. She announced that she is still planning on moving forward with merging her company with Jabot. So she and Jack are working together, and she will still be primarily based in France, but she said that she intends to be spending a lot more time in Genoa City. So that's a big yay from me. I love Eileen Davidson. I think she is a very important character for Y&R. She holds a very special and important place for one of our core families. I was certainly, you know, starting to get a little nervous, though, when she and Jack were talking about renaming their new company. Since they're merging, they were talking about picking a name, and some of the names they were snowballing, like Excellence. No. First of all, just no. My blood was starting to boil at the idea of Jabot being called anything but Jabot. I mean, I was about ready to have a heart attack. I was feeling the anger boiling up in me. And I was going to be furious on the next Y&R chat. But then Kyle came in, and he made this very passionate speech about Jabot being more than a brand, more than a lifestyle. It is a family. It's more than just a family business, it's a family, and he has visions of his own children working at the company someday, and he kind of saved the day. It was wonderful. Ashley and Jack agreed. I agreed. Jabot, we declare, will hereby be renamed Jabot. Oh, you know, another great thing about Kyle and Lola's wedding, Adam wasn't there. Nobody was talking about Adam. Adam didn't come in and try to file a custody lawsuit on anyone. I was on cloud 9 on Friday, just getting a break from all of that mess, until I saw the preview for next week where Adam is asking Sharon to marry him. Was it Daisy a couple of weeks ago who speculated that Adam was interested in pursuing a relationship with Sharon because it would make him look more stable to the judge with all of these custody issues and hearings that are about to be coming up? I can't think of any other reason why Adam would, out of the blue, Sharon to marry him. When I first saw that preview scene, I immediately blacked out. And when I came to later, the news was on, and I was still staring in the direction of the TV with a stern, stone face on. I mean, I guess if these are the plot twists we're waiting for, that was one. I mean, you want to end on a Friday cliffhanger or something. That was, I mean, I was frozen, staring into space with my sourpuss face on. I just don't like it. I don't like it. And it seems like the majority of Y&R chatters are not into Sharon and Adam being together right now. That's what I asked you guys in last week's poll. 76% of you said no, no, no to Sharon and Adam right now. 24% of you voting yes, 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 yes. I mean, look, I think that they are hot. I am not trying to take away from the sizzle between the two actors. And if Y&R took their time and did it right, I can absolutely be lured into a relationship between Adam and Sharon. But getting married right now, I'm still not over Ray. Sharon just broke up with Ray like 2 weeks ago. I was also shocked, by the way, at how warm and fuzzy Sharon and Ray were being toward each other. The evening before Lola's wedding, Sharon's talking to Ray, and she was giving him free coffee, and they were being all nice and friendly. And I guess I just wanted Ray to be mad at her some more. Like, I wanted him to be madder at her the way that I kind of am. She dogged him. She promised him the world, and then she turned around and didn't deliver on it. It was so unfair the way she treated him. I have to tell you, I had a dream about Ray last night. So this is my bias showing here. I dreamt last night that I was going on a date with Ray. And we went to some like breakfast diner place for our first date. And for some reason, I was compelled beyond my own wisdom to, on my first date with Ray, order the fried chicken. Why would I order fried chicken? And even like as they brought me the plate, I'm thinking, why did I order this? This is the worst food you could possibly eat on a first date. Like, here I am actually getting a date with this hot, sexy, he was an actor. Like, it was Ray from Y&R and I'm Allie from Y&R Chat. And he was, for some reason, deciding to go on a date with me, and I order fried chicken to sit there and like hold on to this greasy pieces of meat and like stick my face in it and drool all over the place, get grease all over me. What was I thinking? Fried chicken is the worst first date food. I don't remember what he ordered. Maybe pancakes or something. But you can't be cute shoving your face into fried chicken. So I'm sure Ray would have dumped me if the dream would have progressed, but he would have dumped me the way that Sharon dumped him. I don't know. I'm feeling for Ray still. I don't know how he cannot be mad and feel betrayed and not want to have anything to do with Sharon. I mean, Faith has been through, as Sharon said herself, the loss of mommy's new boyfriend 1,000,000 times, but Ray is new in town. The Adam, Chelsea, Connor sleepover went smashingly well. So smashing, in fact, that they were talking about going to see a movie and getting some ice cream the very next day. And I thought, oh, good. Maybe Chelsea can help build a bridge between Adam and Nick and convince these two guys to just pull it back a little bit for my sake. But then, as soon as they were happy and getting along, Adam started pushing for more. He was insisting that Connor should move in with him and that he should kind of just take over being the primary parent. It's his turn now. And Chelsea tried to stay cool, but it clearly freaked her out and everything escalated into an argument, and now they're talking about who would win in another custody battle. And then Chelsea yanked Connor out of there so fast he didn't even have a chance to finish his Frosted Crisp cereal. Yay, we had one custody story, now we're having two. Yay! Adam is just so lonely, and I did feel that this week. I feel his loneliness, and I empathize with that. And Chelsea is being very paranoid. She's been very paranoid from the beginning because of what Nick is going through. She doesn't want to feel what Nick is feeling, but it all has escalated to no cooperation whatsoever so quickly. Now Chelsea has even more money to help her fight Adam, and also Chelsea has more money so that the writers can bang the audience over the head to let us know that she is in no way pulling a con for money. She's not backing down, having anything to do with money. She's not with Nick for money. Chelsea is a good girl now. She is so nice. It is Anita's job, apparently, to continue to be the bad girl, and that's not even Anita's job hardly anymore. Hey, phew! Anita is not dying. As I was speculating last week, she was just rejecting Chelsea's offer of $1 million of Chelsea's inheritance because Anita was already stashing some of Calvin's cash for herself. Apparently, Calvin had some dirty, dirty business dealings that he never told his ex-con wife about. Didn't involve her in any of the dirty stuff, apparently. The one person who might be able to understand and who would never be compelled to testify against him in court. Didn't tell her any of that. Apparently, Calvin had stashed a bunch of cash inside of a storage locker to the tune of $5 million more. Anita found it, stole it, and then worked with Daryl to make Chelsea sign a fake version of Calvin's will. I don't know. That's weird. That part's weird. Just throws Chelsea off the scent. I thought it was weird in the first place that Chelsea signed something that she didn't read. And who needs to sign a will anyway to become a beneficiary? What does she need to sign? Why would she need to sign Calvin's will? I don't know. But apparently Anita did it all to protect Chelsea so that Chelsea would continue to not know anything about Calvin's shady business dealings if the police started questioning her after Calvin's death. Oh. Well, Chelsea was so upset with Anita and her con artistry ways that Chelsea kicks Anita out of the house, out of Nick's house, mind you, completely. And then later, Daryl shows back up with a revised version of the will that Chelsea needed to sign. And this version includes Chelsea having rights to the storage locker contents. So she signed that again without reading it, and now she is gonna get the additional $5 million in cash as a peace offering from Anita. Daryl brought the cash as a goodwill gesture from Anita. It It was stashed into two suitcases. One of them was big and one of them was small. So Chelsea turns around and gives Gerald the small suitcase just for his trouble. A cash tip, if you will. Oh, wasn't that sweet of her? What a nice person Chelsea is. What a do-gooder. That Chelsea Lawson. Well, I noticed that she didn't give him the big suitcase. That's for sure. She still kept the big suitcase for herself. Okay, let's talk about Christian. After this week, I will say I am on board with we need to tell Christian the truth about what's going on with Adam and Nick. Any kid who has had the don't take candy from strangers talk with their parents should be wary of the guy who is coming up to him in the park, asking him to play soccer and telling him that he's his real daddy. I mean, Adam straight up has had no contact with Christian since the last time we saw them, when he said he was his real daddy. And then this week, he comes up to the kid unannounced in the park and refers to himself as daddy. He says, Christian, daddy says blah, 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 calling himself daddy. So this is confusing and creepy for the child. So at this point, we have some work to do. I'm going to help them fix this, because rather than Nick and Victoria continuing on playing this BS game where they try to do everything in their power to block Adam's court-ordered visitation, this is what they need to do. Step one, we need a new paternity test. We are basing a whole lot of stuff off of some paternity test that was switched anyway. Oh, and no, then Nick had a follow-up paternity test. But we need another one. We need to reestablish that this is really the case, because there's been so many darn paternity twists. We need a new one. We need to, step two, get those test results expedited. Like, we need them yesterday. We need to reconfirm who the father really is. And then step three, all right, we need to tell Christian the truth. And then we need to involve Christian in the decision making. Instead of sheltering him and then letting him bumble into these awkward incidents that he's so scared by that he runs away and hides in the bushes. Well, yeah, some guy who you don't really know is walking up to you in the park and asking you to play ball and calling himself your dad. Yeah. You're gonna run away. This is a failure to communicate with the child. It's not any one person's fault. It's a total failure of communication in which now the child is caught in the middle of. Look, I don't see Adam as a threat or a danger to Christian or to Connor in any way. I never have. I think, though, that the right thing for Adam to have done would have been to follow through with his original decision to let Christian be raised not by him. I think Adam should have let Nick continue to raise Christian at least until Christian is a little bit older and more capable of coping with the paternity. We should have dipped our toes into the water here, not just filed a custody lawsuit that got the kid ripped out of both homes, got the kid placed with neither father. But now that we are here, there is no more sticking our heads in the sand. Nick and Adam both need to work together to face this head on. They both need to work together in the interest of the child. I mean, not only for the interest of the child, but that's the only way that both Nick and Adam come out of this looking good at all. Even though I feel exhausted by this story, I will say I think that Y&R did a much better job this week of filling in some of the emotional details surrounding Adam's motives for wanting custody of Christian, Although Y&R has still done a very poor job in filling in the emotional details surrounding why Adam switched those paternity test results in the first place. He isn't talking about that enough. Not everyone was watching at that time, or, like me, can just freshly pull up a years old scenario and feel connected to it. Oh, I know. I get the explanations about it from fans every week. I get it on like a storyline plot level, but I'm not connecting in with it emotionally. I don't understand why he switched the paternity tests, and I want to hear it from his mouth. Why? This should have been done months ago before Adam filed the custody lawsuit. However, two really great and important scenes happened in Adam's favor on Wednesday. It gave these both gave Adam a chance to talk and to listen. First was Adam's talk with Devon. I loved this. This was great. Devon is a neutral party. Devon does not have a dog in this fight. So he was able to give some fresh perspective from an outsider. And also second, Devon is adopted. Devon didn't even find out who his real father was until he was probably in his 20s. And Devon offered the perspective that he felt blessed for having known both of the men who were pivotal in making him who he was today. He felt blessed for having found his biological father. So that was a good conversation. I am so glad that Y&R made that connection. I never would have. I mean, Elena was jogging in the park, and this is why it came up. She was jogging in the park when Christian went missing, and she helped to find Christian when Nick was looking for him. The next day, though, Adam walks over across the hall to Devon's penthouse looking for Elena, supposedly saying that he just wanted to get her perspective on that incident and what she thought about it. But really, you know, he wanted to yank her into it. And Devon saw that. Thank you, Devon. Devon warns Adam to stay away from Elena. She does not need to be in the middle of this. She was just trying to help with Christian. She was just trying to do the right thing. And there was this great, great moment between them. I mean, this is probably one of the best lines from the entire scene, where Adam remarks to Devon, gee, it must be nice having someone see your motives as good and pure. And Devon just so casually responds, well, it is easy when they are. When your motives are good and pure, people see it. People know it. No one's questioning you. It was just such a yeah moment. See, and this is another reason why I love Devon. His perspective on this whole thing is so similar to my own. It is just right in the center, you know, about the child, putting focus where it needs to be on the child. It is not about winning or losing. This whole custody issue and this whole battle between Nick and Adam is not about winning or losing. It is not really even about Adam or Nick or Victor, or it shouldn't be. It should be about Christian. Like, all of this fighting would be par for the course, and it would be fine if it were about trying to gain control of a company, or fighting about money or a woman or love or something. But Christian is a little person. He's a little boy who deserves to be loved and to have love and contact with both of these guys at this point. And it's up to Adam and Nick and everyone else in the Newman family surrounding to make some room for that. The other conversation that helped me connect in with Adam and understand his motives a little better this week was the confrontation scene between he and Victor. Apparently Victor did some finagling with the court to get Adam's visitation with Christian now revoked, and instead Adam has a restraining order. so that he can no longer see Christian. I don't know how that even worked out. How that even happened. Victor just, I guess, must have paid a judge. But see, now Adam is being seen as the underdog. Now they've built the story enough to where they've shown Adam's desire to connect with his son, and we're seeing an outside force trying to prevent him from doing that in a very underhanded way. We're also seeing it with Victoria and Billy and their little stunt that they pulled this week. So all these are the areas where I can root for Adam. He's been steamrolling through town, winning since he came on the show. Now he's losing a little bit, and that helps me empathize a little bit more. That's just me and my personality. But that conversation between Adam and Victor was important. Because Adam told Victor, I'm just trying to do the right thing for Christian that you didn't do for me. You left me in Kansas to be raised by another man, and I don't want that for Christian. Okay. Couple of notes here though, because while I don't remember a lot of storylines clear as day, this one I do remember because this was part of the story, or an arc of the story that introduced me to Y&R. And I can tell you that Victor did not want to leave Adam in Kansas, then Victor Jr. Victor felt very guilty that his Genoa City lifestyle had become so harmful and so unsuitable for Hope that he agreed to Hope insisting that Adam, Victor Jr., be raised in Kansas with another man, far away from the destructiveness of Victor's lifestyle. I think Victor felt guilty, and that's why he left Adam there. See, now Y&R should be doing a better job of presenting the story because, again, not every viewer was watching at that time. Not every viewer can connect in with something that they're just being told. That's something that they should emotionally show on the show to help make Victor more empathetic and help us understand why Victor made that decision. Cliff, the man who raised Adam as his boy, was basically a saint. I mean, he was always looking out for Hope and for Victor Jr. Adam, honestly, had a good life. It didn't get messed up until he came to Genoa City, until he got mixed up with Victor and the rest of the Newmans. Arguably, Adam would have been better off never knowing that it was Victor Newman Jr. But that was Hope's choice. Hope played a big role in that. Just like, you know, leaving them in Kansas was Victor's choice. He made that choice. And just like switching those paternity test results was Adam's choice. Everybody makes choices. But Adam, with tears in his eyes, and you could hear he was choking up in his voice, he told Victor that he didn't want to make the same choices that Victor made, that he didn't want to be the same kind of father that Victor was. And that brings us full circle to what is really going on here with Adam, what this is really all about. Everything always with Adam does go back to that relationship that he has with his father, and everything that he does really does stem from his desire to not repeat that mistake, to not repeat Victor's mistake, to not be Victor. All of Adam's life, he just wants to not be Victor. And here's where I'm understanding the motive with Christian and his sons. Wish he would have came to that conclusion when he was switching the paternity test results. But Adam is also, we know, a very flawed individual, because in the process of trying to not be the kind of father that Victor was, Adam is leaving this trail of destruction. Christian is not better off right now for this custody suit, and it's only going to get worse. Adam, to Victor, at the end of that scene, vowed to continue to fight Victor. In fact, Adam says he hasn't even begun to fight. And as this fight continues to escalate, everyone loses further and further sight of the goal, which is to build a happy and healthy home for Christian. Adam is lucky that Christian didn't get tossed into foster care, and as a result of this custody suit is sitting with a couple of strangers right now who are treating him who knows how. And frankly, if Victoria is not careful, she might be deemed an unsuitable temporary guardian for Christian, playing these stupid little games. I mean, that could still happen anyway. I don't know if it's because I have a child now, but I just can no longer ignore the fact that what we're fighting over is a little person. I think maybe before I had my daughter, maybe I wouldn't be zeroing in on that enough. But Y&R can't have it both ways. They can't make me care about the kid and then not care about the kid at the same time. And the fight is just escalating. It's just getting worse and worse, and everybody's losing sight of the goal. An eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. And in a soap opera, what we're usually fighting over is love or money or power, and that's fine. But when there's this little kid's life on the line, the risk just isn't worth it. Adam tells Phyllis this week that she's fired from Dark Horse. Dark Horse isn't even a company anymore, apparently. And he's offering to sell her prized hotel to Devon. It was really good. There were 2 scenes between Adam and Devon this week. They're neighbors, after all, so it was good to see them interacting. It was weird to see Devon walking around the penthouse thinking of Neil, because Neil only lived there briefly. I have to say, I don't really associate Neil with that penthouse very much. What I do associate Neil with is my man. There was a scene this week, actually I think it happened twice, where Nick comes into his first scene with Connor, and he says, "Connor, my man." And then I think he said it later when he saw Christian at the park. I will never hear that phrase said in that way and not think of Neil. I mean, Nick was saying it exactly like Neil would have said it. My man. Ugh, I do miss Neil. Well, Phyllis is out of the hotel ownership plan at this point in the story, so she approaches Devon directly, begging him to sell it to her desperately. And Devon doesn't want to work with Phyllis. He tries to be nice to her, but there are punches that are not being pulled. And then when he says he's out, Phyllis then goes begging to Abby. See, before this, Phyllis was not getting along with Abby on the deal because Theo told Phyllis about what happened at Kyle and Lola's bachelorette party. And so Phyllis got very caught up in defending her daughter to Abby that she didn't realize she was burning a business bridge, or she didn't care at that moment. But Phyllis ended up finding a way to work with Abby again because Abby says, you know what, all right, actually, as a last-ditch effort, Phyllis recommends that Abby buys the hotel herself, and Abby agrees to it. She says, all right, I'll just buy this hotel, and I'll let you manage it, Phyllis, if you put up some of the money. So what it sounds like to me, unless I'm interpreting it wrong, it sounds like Abby's going to own 80% of this hotel, and Phyllis is going to put up 20%. Okay, so first of all, that basically just means that Phyllis and Abby are going to own it together. They're going to be partners, even if they're not equal partners. And why? Why would Abby want that? Just, I think the previous day, Abby had a conversation with Victor where Victor was warning her against doing business with Phyllis. Abby could have just bought the hotel outright. She didn't need Phyllis, and she certainly doesn't need to have an investor who she doesn't really trust or get along with. But also second, I mean, Phyllis has just come off as so desperate and sad through all of this, going around town begging for money. It just actually makes me pity her I mean, she's just getting turned down left and right because nobody likes her, nobody trusts her, nobody wants to work with her. And I don't even know why she's fighting so hard for this hotel. She's just getting clingy when it comes to the idea. It's the same way she was clingy when it came to Jabot and her revenge plans against Jack and the Abbotts and Jabot. Phyllis has so much more that she could possibly do. I mean, she just needs to break free and do something on her own, do something else, do something that she can control herself. Nate reached back out to Abby this week just to try to some good old-fashioned, honest communication, no games, no pressure, and I liked it. I think I really needed to hear Nate express to Abby and to us why he feels so passionate about wanting more out of a relationship with her. He is very intrigued by her, but Abby is guarded. He can see that, we can see that, and it's for a number of reasons. It's not even just her romantic history. It probably has to do with her family history too. But she was very taken with his approach, and they agree to meet in the middle somewhere, not taking things too fast, not taking things too slow. I think Devon and Elena had also made a comment to Nate about when he was going to be getting married, and he said it, not anytime soon. So we've seen Nate put on the brakes, and we're going to meet in the middle. And I hope good things happen in the middle. Since Ashley is back in town, she was talking to Abby and saying how absolutely thrilled she is that her daughter is dating Olivia's son. And oh, this is the connection that I did not make before. And then as soon as I heard it, I was like, yeah. Ashley and Olivia were best friends. I remember that very well, and yet the connection between their children dating completely slipped my mind. I don't know why that wasn't brought up before. I didn't get it at all. But it was in that moment when Ashley mentioned Olivia that I realized what Y&R is actually doing here with Devon and Elena specifically. I think that Y&R is trying to return us to a classic type story like the original Barbara Winters family, right? Little Nate's kind of like his dad, Big Nate. Elena is this smart and nerdy type, kind of like Olivia was. And Devon is so clearly the responsible, straight shooter, the way that Neil was. And my favorite, if my favorite internet rumor du jour has any truth behind it, and if Mishael Morgan has really just signed a new contract with Y&R, like I've been hearing, then you can bring her back, make her Hillary's twin, and she's kind of like the wild child that Drusilla was. Oh boy, this is so funny. I really thought everyone was going to guess last week's Who Said It quote. The quote was, "Do good, get good in return." But there were only, what, 6 people who guessed that that was Nikki. Nikki was having that conversation with Phyllis at Society, where Phyllis was trying to pitch Nikki on the idea of investing in the hotel, and Nikki didn't want to have anything to do with it, but Phyllis was then moaning about how no one wants to have anything to do with her, and Nikki told her, you know what, you just need to do good and get good in return. You need to go the karma route. And also Nikki, even though she doesn't like Phyllis, was kind of impressed with what she did for Nick. So yeah, do good, get good in return. It was such a, it just seemed like such a moment to me, but I guess not everyone zeroed in on that. However, Ambreen, Henry, Liz, Jamie D, T. Nicole, and Keisha heard that line loud and clear. They got it right. Now let's see about A new quote for the week. Who said this? I believe in the energy of cosmic spheres guiding us to where we need to be. Oh, me too. I was just saying that the other day. I believe in the energy of cosmic spheres guiding us where we need to be. Oh. Well, do you know who said it? Because if you do, you should go to yrchat.com, leave your guess, and if you get it right, then I will give you your cosmic shout out on next week's Y&R Chat. Well, yes, let's get down to comments and talk a little bit about that little rumor that Mishael Morgan is returning, that she has signed a 3-year contract with Y&R. I wonder why it would be a 3-year contract, because I think that Y&R itself is only renewed on a yearly basis. So if she was able to ink a 3-year deal, then big props to her. But Leslie says, I for one am happy, and I think Allie will be even happier. Facebook page that I saw had a lot of unhappy fans, many saying that she was the worst actress on the show, which surprised me. She could come back as a twin or something, and it might actually be funny if Adam had somebody change her appearance to look like her, or pull a scam on Devon, a la his father Victor, who has pulled similar stunts more than once. Actually, even better is if Nathan has been hiding her while attempting to cure her, perhaps at her request, thinking Devon should be free since he only is with her because of the baby. It could spice up the storyline for Nathan. I would love to see you after a couple of weeks, or I would love to see after a couple of weeks that Devon and Hillary didn't really get along that well, and that he has only just gotten back with her a month before she died. It would also be interesting twist if she came back to play the role of Lily. Oh, there's a lot there, Leslie. Well, first of all, I don't know. I think that Hillary is a very controversial character. So I think a lot of fans liked her and a lot of fans didn't like her. I most certainly did like her. If she comes back, you better believe I would be very happy. I really like the idea of, I think it would be a twin. I don't know. I feel like that would be the way to go. Because I don't know how else they would explain that they would explain it, but a twin twist I could get down with. Yeah, because otherwise, as you say, the question would be why did she fake her own death and with the baby and all that? I'm not sure. But I like the idea of, instead of jumping right back into a romance, that Devon and Hillary #2 could be rivals a little bit. That would be fun. I also am really floored by your idea that she could come back to play the role of Lily. Wow. Oh, that would be scandalous. I mean, I think fans might hit the roof. Well, let's talk about our poll question from last week. Adam and Sharon right now. Superplex says, yes, yes, yes. They are so super hot together, even if it's just animalistic lust right now. They are worth the cost of seeing those two together. Over time, if the writers play things right, true companionship could blossom between these two. Adam and Sharon makes Sharon and Ray look like fun with Dick and Jane. Yeah, I know, but I just wanted my Sharon to be, she could be Dick. I'm fine with a Jane for a little bit. I don't know. I feel so connected to the character of Sharon for some reason. I think because she was introduced onto Y&R at about the same time as I started watching it. And, I don't watch Bold and the Beautiful currently, but I think, Bold and the Beautiful has had some same problems with the character of Brooke. It's like, if you are going to use somebody over the course of 20 years, they are going to have gone through some crap. And at a certain point, I think you got to pull them back to at least make them a little respectable. But I don't know. That's maybe just me. I'm glad that you're enjoying it. It is hot. I agree. And I also do agree that over time, as you say, if the writers play things right, they could be more than just hot. It's just a matter of what if these writers want to do that. It seems like they want to take their time with telling certain stories, and then other stories are just like, whoa, give me a minute here. There's no time taken here. Jamie D voted no, because I just can't buy Adam is the love of Sharon's life. Also, I thought it looked as if Chelsea's heart was starting to thaw when she was watching the way her son loved his dad. I might have just imagined that because I'm still on the old storyline that Adam was the love of Chelsea's life. Yeah, no kidding, Jamie D. I thought that Chelsea was melting though too. Everything was going so well between them. I mean, it warmed my heart up to Adam's relationship with Connor. Reminded me of that whole relationship that I guess I'm supposed to forget. What is Y&R doing? I mean, those poll results were the majority. It was more voted in than the last poll. And people just are voting no for Adam and Sharon. It's just not clicking. TB84 says, I vote no. Why? Because I somehow don't believe in Adam's honest feelings towards Sharon. He might just be using her to stick it even more to Nick. But in his mind and heart, and he's looking toward the future, he wants to convince and get back with Chelsea. I just don't know where this is going, but that was my feeling and opinion. I never thought about Adam wanting to be with Sharon to stick it to Nick, but that's bonus. Anna voted yes, yes, yes. I really want Adam and Sharon to be together. So much so that I'm hoping Adam wins custody of Christian and Sharon and Adam can raise him together. This may be an unpopular feeling, but I can't help it. I agree that there's not much story yet, but they can build up the hot chemistry that they have and then slowly show them becoming a family and Sharon helping Adam to be a better man. Maybe that is where it's going, Anna. I mean, shoot. I do remember you saying you wanted to see Sharon and Adam raise Christian together. Maybe that is where they're going. I mean, Adam's got to have some kind of recourse in court now that Victor has blocked him into a corner. I just don't want to see Sharon being used as a weapon. Please don't let her say yes to a marriage. There is other ways that she could be helping Adam that are not marry him and pretend to be a happy couple just so he'll have a home for the children. Although I don't know if you like Adam and Sharon, maybe you're all for it. It's just so fast. Ellen says maybe we can see Shaddam evolve into a true power couple now that they have come through things like near-death experiences and psychiatric treatment. Unlike Nick, Adam doesn't see Sharon as someone who needs fixing. That's good for her. And Adam certainly needs motivation to be his best self. Sharon and access to his sons could be that motivation. Well, I agree. That was the original appeal of Sharon and Adam for me, was that, as you say, Adam didn't see Sharon as someone who needs fixing. I could so have been sold on Adam and Sharon if the writers were approaching it a little better, but that's just me. Sue W says the actor playing Adam is killing it. He can't help the stupid storylines they give him. Like, what was the point of the amnesia? Except to neatly wipe away the past years gone. He has chemistry with everyone, but he and Phyllis would really sizzle. I love seeing him with the kids. It's showing more dimension to Adam. Random morbid thought. Could it be possible that Billy will be off the rails and somehow accidentally cause the death of Connor or Christian? The Delia story would come full circle and give the writers a gold mine plot. Oh, Sue W. And give me a heart attack. Oh, you see now. Oh. Please, let's not kill any more kids. My heart can't take any more killed kids, I don't think. It would be a plot. Oh, they would probably love that. As you said, gold mine. Josh Griffith would probably get so much story out of that. Oh, I hope not. But I agree with you, too, that the actor is killing it who plays Adam. I do feel like I connect more with him. This week, I think I did. But, you know, when he was in Victor's office and he was really choked up, I was definitely feeling the power of the actor in those scenes. He looked crushed. Yeah, I agree. Actor's good. Story, maybe not so much. Well, speaking of Billy, T. Nicole says, you know, if that writing on the wall is real, then why wouldn't Billy show Victoria or Sharon or Jack? They can see the Stop Adam now. Part of me wonders if it is all in Billy's head because he dreams of Delia writing these words on the wall and Daddy on the side of the table, and then it appears after he wakes up. If someone's putting those writings on the wall, how could they know Billy would dream of the exact same thing also? Yes, this is a great point. First of all, we need someone to confirm that that writing actually is on the wall. That's going to make a difference. The only thing I could say is I suppose if someone was drugging him, perhaps they could make it so that, or had him sort of in a weird dream state, they could make it so that it was working its way into his dreams. But otherwise, you know, I don't know. It's certainly possible he's doing it to himself. Here we are months down the road, still no progress on that. None. I mean, we saw Billy having a vague, distant look in his eye right before the wedding, but other than that, nothing. Would be nice if Y&R would get to that. They've been doing that since the beginning of summer because I think it was right around the time that we had the carnival. No, it was before the carnival because Billy was at the carnival shooting stuff with the carnival gun, thinking about shooting somebody and thinking about being violent. And that was like the second instance because before that we saw him just at the Abbott house pulling the Abbott gun out of the bureau or whatever. So this has been going on a while and still nothing. I mean, we've gotten nowhere. Well, on a positive note, Gary pointed out 2 scenes that really reminded him of that classic Bill Bell old school Y&R style of writing. The first being the grandiosity of that scene between Victor and Adam. And the second being Kyle delivering that beautiful speech about family in the Abbott living room. Yeah, those are Hallmark kind of trademark classic soap styles, right? Having the big epic fight, and then also having that you know, that affection for family. So I agree. I really enjoyed both of those scenes quite a lot. Love seeing those Newmans. Love seeing those Abbotts. Daisy says, when Kyle said the Abbott family tree is full of nuts, I thought that was so funny. Of course, he forgets that Lola's family is also full of nuts. But at least Kyle had a sense of humor through all of his wedding stress. And also, because Kyle put the wedding together, I'd love to see him introduce wedding planning and supplies through Jabot. Seems like that's something he's good at. I think it would be a great asset to Jabot. Something new for the company. And along with Ashley's products, I think that Kyle's wedding planning is something that might help put them on top again. Ooh, that would be so fun, especially to start introducing that now because spring is sort of wedding season. And they could bring that back up, like Kyle bringing in some wedding products, or I loved seeing Kyle as Groomzilla or whatever. I would have loved to have seen more of that. I thought that was fun, and it was a little bit different and modern to see the man planning the wedding. And yeah, that would be really a cool idea for Jabot. Kyle is very cute. I did also laugh when he said the Abbott family tree is full of nuts. Hey, is Kyle in the opening credits? Because this week I noticed that, I mean, Lola came into the opening credits a while ago, but Tessa was in for the very first time. Which is odd because when I was looking up article to try to find the whole Mishael Morgan rumor and find out if that was true, which it hasn't been confirmed, by the way. But I saw someone commenting about, at around the same time that Anna got let go, that Tessa was taken off full-time contract status, which may or may not be true. I'm not exactly sure, but she did pop up in the opening credits this week, so there's that. But I thought to myself, okay, well, we saw Lola in those credits. Does Kyle have an opening credit? Surely he must, but I can't pull it out of my mind right now. Maybe you guys can tell me. Shakona says, I can relate so much with Kyle's feelings of inevitable doom. When you see so many divorces within your family and in the world, it just makes you skeptical about even contemplating marriage. I'm glad that Tracy and Ashley were there to console him. Yeah, that was really good. I mean, the look on his face, too, he just looked like he was going to be sick. Ashley and Tracy were going on and on about their tips for marriage when neither one of them was really at a successful marriage. And he just looked greener and greener around the gills as the scene went on. It was very cute and funny. It just had this sense about it, like he's getting razzed by his two crazy aunts, but they were being supportive of him and it was cute. And again, I can't say it enough, I also really loved the contrasting scene of Lola getting her pep talk from Mariah and Tessa at the coffee house, and then also getting support in her bridal tent. Those were, I mean, I really loved that Y&R took, not only did they give us an actual wedding that had decor and it wasn't like a quickie thing and a tiny little set, they actually gave us a nice, grand, beautifully planned wedding with florals and lights, and it was lovely. But I also liked that we saw the steps leading up to the wedding and all of the pitfalls and the typical things you would go through right before the wedding. I thought this was great. I'll be interested to see the poll results to see if other people were loving it too. But about that conversation and Kyle being afraid of divorce, not only because of what has happened in his family, but he's also apparently had a divorce. He's you know, he's young and he already has a divorce under his belt, which he kind of didn't mention or wasn't really focused on in that scene. But yeah, I can understand why he would be worried that it wouldn't work out. I'm hoping that that conversation, though, was not forecasting doom for the new couple already. Daisy says, I wonder if Theo and Zoe's father had set the stage to get money from Kyle and it was all a hoax. Not sure if Zoe would have been involved, but I thought it's strange for her to go with Theo. She doesn't even know him. Or does she? Ooh, yeah, why on earth would she even agree to go to this wedding out of the blue? Hey, you know that guy who dumped you off at the emergency room that one night? And then paid your father to keep it all quiet? You want to go to his wedding? I'm going to guess maybe Zoe didn't know about the payout. Unless your theory is right that there is something more suspicious going on. I feel myself wanting to predict plot twists and then every week I'm wrong. It's just, I think this writing level is just so different from what we've been used to. I don't know if there's going to be a plot twist with Theo right around the corner. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. I mean, Lola's got to find out about this one way or another, right? Diana says, just a little fun fact reminder. Does anyone remember when Phyllis kissed Kyle near Christmas time when she was married to Jack, if I remember correctly? I don't remember what Phyllis's reasons were. Kyle was being played by a really tall guy. Does Summer know that they kissed? What would Lola think? It's never been brought up since it happened. I do kind of remember Kyle having a crush on Phyllis, and I do kind of remember Phyllis kissing him. I think she wanted something from him. It wasn't a true passionate, we're sort of falling for each other thing. I think she was trying to manipulate his interest in her for one reason or another. I don't think Summer knows about it. That could be good though. Oh, Colleen says, Phyllis has been drop dead gorgeous all week long in that shiny peach pantsuit. It's a great color for her, and something about that cut is very flattering. Oh yes, Colleen, don't think I didn't notice that. I would call it coral. The color of that, it was like satiny fabric, and it was coral, and it was a pantsuit, and man, she was working it. Phyllis looked good in that pantsuit. And also I have to say, she looked really good standing next to Abby when Abby was wearing the black leather dress as they were talking about the hotel deal and Phyllis was broaching the idea of Abby buying the hotel. Just seeing that bright pink silky fabric contrasted with Abby's dress as it was sort of black and matte and dull. It just, ooh, it was, they both visually looked so good in that scene. Daisy S says, Abby is so self-righteous. She completely bashed Summer to her mother, which caused Phyllis to have a very realistic reaction. I don't know too many mothers that would let you badmouth their daughter to their face. And when Phyllis has to go back groveling to Abby, she acts like she was somehow the victim in the argument and makes it about Phyllis's relationship with the Abbotts. What does one have to do with the other? Abby is forever trying to make herself out to be the victim. She never owns up to any of her wrongdoings. She is so entitled and self-righteous. But I suppose I'm biased because I've never been a fan of Abby's. Oh, yeah, it was, I guess I wasn't looking at it from that perspective. I was more looking at it from, ooh, it looks so bad on Phyllis having to grovel to get Abby to invest. But, you know, yeah, I mean, I guess I could see that because Abby certainly didn't take a whole lot of responsibility for the cat fight that happened at the party the week prior. So I could see you having some not goodwill toward Abby there. But honestly, Abby hasn't been bothering me nearly as much lately. She hasn't been bugging me. I mean, there's nobody on the show that I hate. She was probably my least favorite character, but I have to say, she hasn't been bothering me as much lately. Well, in fact, why don't we skip over now to talking about the best and worst dressed for the Kyle and Lola wedding fashion. You know we got to do a best and worst dressed fashion edition for this wedding. I have to say, first off, I'll start with the bad. Victoria. I mean, it wasn't the worst thing I have ever seen, but it wasn't good. Victoria was wearing what looked to be a teal or forest green dress, depending on the lighting. And it had this weird knot in it where it was tied in a knot. It was wrapped around her neck and tied in a knot at her chest. And it's not that, I mean, the dress was not good, but the worst part of the whole thing was that her hair was swept to the side, kind of the side pony, but her hair looked really ratty. I don't know, maybe the style just didn't translate very well to the screen, but her hair actually did look bad. It looked dry and ratty, and then with this dress, it just was not good. I normally like a lot of what Victoria wears, and I just didn't like it at all. How about we talk about some best dress? Superplex mentioned Summer's dress. I also did like her flowy pink dress. It looked like it had some like 80s style spandexy ruffles around the waist. I do kind of like that. You know, I like retro fashion a little bit, so I liked that. Anna had mentioned Abby in her baby blue, but also Mariah. I thought it was very interesting that you noted Mariah as a best dressed because I didn't quite know what to think about Mariah's dress. See, I liked the color. It was kind of a reddish brown or a brownish red, and you had mentioned that you liked that color as it matched with her hair. I kept thinking the cut of the dress was almost maybe too mature for Mariah. Like, it wasn't very youthful. Mariah is so young, and that dress was giving me Mother of the Bride. I mean, I did also like the color though. I guess it was the cut. I mean, I would probably wear the dress, but I'm older, so I feel like I could pull it off a little better. Oh, hey, by the way though, Tessa, on the other hand, I thought Tessa looked adorable. She was wearing this kind of retro, multicolor, sparkly number, and I loved it. I thought Mariah and Tessa were funny and gushy all week. The Y&R's done a good job of just letting them be. So what did everyone think of Lola's dress? I loved her hair and her makeup, and I thought the dress was lovely. My only criticism, I guess, would be that she looked so small in it. Like, it was so much dress for such a small figured woman. But, you know, she looked so happy and so vibrant, of course. And her flowers were beautiful. And, I mean, all the flowers were beautiful. I love it when Y&R gives us flowers. But, I mean, I gotta tell you, my best dress, my official best dressed award has got to go to Abby. I mean, hands down. Abby in baby blue. Now, the cut of Abby's dress was a basic sleeveless dress around the, you know, the bodice. It had a kind of a classic A-line, but it had this extra bit of chiffon that was draped over the shoulders kind of asymmetrically. It kind of cut cut up and down on a side angle, and then the chiffon part was tied into the back in this big, beautiful bow. I just thought it was absolutely gorgeous. The dress also had a diamondy, sparkly belt, and Abby was wearing this very interesting pair of diamondy earrings. Yeah, it's so funny because it's like, I just think overall Abby was really excellent, looking at the wedding, and she was also very fun and sweet while she was doing it. Coming from me, a shocker. I mean, I don't know, I always love Abby's fashion. Always, and I think the actress is getting better, maybe. Maybe I'm just adjusting to her, I'm not sure, but yeah, Abby's my best dressed, honestly. I think she looks so good. She probably upstages the bride. Okay, everybody, time for me to get going. I gotta make my daughter some food. I gotta get my daughter her frosted crisps. I'm always zeroing in on the food things on the show, like the fact that I noticed this week that at Society they seem to use black plasticware. Like, nobody uses silverware at the restaurant. At Society, if you look closely, they're using black plasticware. And I'm sure it's probably to keep it so that, you know, actual silverware isn't clinking on the dishes and making a bunch of noise in the background. But I can't help noticing it. It's kind of like when they have half-filled cups of coffee, and it's not even coffee, it's water, and you accidentally get a glimpse of like, oh, they're actually, you know, they're at Crimson Lights supposedly having coffee, and I can clearly see that it's like a half-filled glass of water. That's how I felt about the plasticware. Like, they're trying to just make it subtle, probably no one will notice. And then we notice. Well, if there's anything else that you've noticed this week or prior, go to yrchat.com to leave me your comments. It is always so wonderful to get your perspectives and your votes. I'm wondering if everyone else loved the wedding as much as I did. And of course, you can come back next week and we will chat again, figure out where we are in this crazy town of Genoa City. Who knows? Probably we're gonna be in the exact same spot with Billy. I'm gonna guess no progression on that. Okay, everybody, I love you so much. Everybody have a great, great week. Bye!